Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel and to a fun video where I need your participation and we'll get right to it. I recently stumbled upon an advertisement taking part in an aircraft starring the all-famous John Cena. But the mistakes that were made in this advert are so out of proportion, it's just not true. So I'll play the clip for you and I want you to honestly write down in the comment section all the mistakes you can find in this short video. Here we go.
When do we get home, Mike?
In about 14 hours, sir.
14 hours. Jeez. Let's go to Abu Dhabi instead.
What?
Well, I want to go.
Sir, I've already flown past. I'd have to change the flight plan. I just can't.
What are you doing? There's the turn, Mike!
Sir, is everything okay?
Everything's great!
Now pause the video and write down your found mistakes. Okay, now I'll show you the 35 mistakes that I have found in those 30 seconds of that advert. Here we go. Number one, it's a Citation Jet. Why is that a mistake? You'll see at the end of the video, so hold on tight until then. Number two, please look at the size of this cabin. Now, to say the least, it is humongous for a private jet. Now compare that to the size of an actual Citation Jet as shown at the beginning of the clip. You can barely stand upright in a CJ1 compared to the one John Cena is in. One other thing that it's definitely not a Citation Jet here, I am counting 15 cabin windows and the actual plane only has 8 cabin windows. Next mistake, look at the lighting. Why is there sun coming from both sides of the plane? That's a no-no too. And then he asks the pilot how long the flight will be.
When do we get home, Mike?
In about 14 hours, sir.
14 hours. Jeez.
Okay, seeing in the video that they are close to Abu Dhabi and knowing that John Cena lives in Tampa, that's a 6,800 nautical mile trip. With a maximum cruising speed of 377 knots, that would take you 18 hours in a Citation, and that plane only has a range of 1,200 nautical miles. So there's your next mistake. Now, the onboard entertainment system. Why does it only show Abu Dhabi? I'm aware of it, that is an advert for the beautiful Emirate of Abu Dhabi, but typically Dubai and Sharjah would also be shown here. Let's look at the other numbers on the display. Ground speed 512 miles per hour does not match with the cruising speed of a Citation Jet, which is roughly 100 miles less. Now, the headwind might be correct. The outside air temperature of minus 58 Fahrenheit equals minus 50 degrees Celsius. Taking that into an ISA chart, we would be cruising currently at 33,000 feet. Why is that important? You'll see in a minute. Then the next scene shows John bursts into the cockpit. Now, all business jets that I have seen and flown do not have a door, and if they would have one, they would definitely need a code to get in. Now, the circuit breaker panels do definitely not belong to a Citation Jet, neither any other plane I'm aware of, and the size of the cockpit doesn't match a Citation Jet either. Now, that's also a very sketchy looking overhead panel. Please comment below if you know a plane with these kind of switches. Then the headset of the two pilots. They might be great for a Zoom call, but definitely not for an airplane cockpit, especially the 2-string connection to the headset, looking like one of those you get from the board shop. Cockpit headsets have only one cable for the audio and microphone. On to the next faux pas.
Let's go to Abu Dhabi instead.
What?
Well, I want to go.
Sir, I've already flown past. I'd have to change the flight plan. I just can't.
Yes, changing the flight plan would have been somewhat of an issue, but definitely something they could have worked out with ATC and the authorities. Hence, having 14 hours of fuel on board, they would have had the time to negotiate. Okay, this next switch puts me off entirely. I worked as a skydiving pilot and I know how long it takes to safely and securely put on a parachute. Look how long it takes Mr. Cena to do that. About 1 second. That's a record for sure. Now to the most controversial part, the door opening scene. At 33,000 feet, you could never open an airplane door. Why? Because there is 7 to 8 psi, pounds per square inch of pressure pushing onto the inside of the cabin hull. Let's say that door is 80 by 40 inches in height and width, so 3,200 square inches times 7 pounds per square inch. John is very strong, but I doubt that he can overcome 22,400 pounds at 33,000 feet. Sorry, John, that one's a little bit too much. But that's not all. Look at the door itself. It's not a Citation door, neither is it a Boeing door. No, it's an Airbus door. Now things get completely out of hand. So we assume that John is jumping out of the forward left-hand door because he's running past the captain from right to left, correct? But the door he opened turned to the left. Well, the forward L1 door on an Airbus opens to the right. So in the direction of flight, meaning the video showing him opening the door could either be the right, forward or aft door of an Airbus. And now look in which direction this seat is pointing. So he's definitely in the aft galley. And speaking of seat, where is this seat in this picture? They definitely recorded that at the rear part of a plane. And as John has initiated or caused a rapid cabin depressurization, the aft galley oxygen mask for the flight attendants should be dangling down in this picture too. And we have to add that the door would have gotten ripped off at 512 miles per hour and that the evacuation slide would have been deployed as well, as it is armed during flight. Now both being sucked into the engines. Then the paper. Wow, there is a lot of loose paper in that cockpit. Most modern cockpit, as I would expect it to be of Mr. Cena's private jet, wouldn't have paper charts anymore. Everything would have been on an EFB, the electronic flight bag. And yet again, what cockpit is that? Definitely not a Citation. Just look at those colorful buttons on the MCP or the FCU. Is it a Boeing? Is it an Airbus? We still don't know. Okay, and this piece of paper here is also putting me off. It's blowing into the direction of John. It wouldn't do that. Everything would be sucked out of that door, including him. Then the captain has the time to get out of his pilot seat without an oxygen mask, as you do, and he doesn't seem to be holding onto anything. So he would be sucked out of that door as well. Now, another thing shows that they recorded these scenes at different spots. Here you have the forward galley's oven, but where is it in this picture? And this orange juice here somehow made it miraculously to here in a split of a second. And yet again, is it an Airbus or a Boeing? Because here you see the CIDS of an Airbus, the Cabin Intercommunication Data System. Now, looking at the jump, I mentioned before that it had minus 58 Fahrenheit or minus 50 degrees Celsius outside, and you see the protective clothing Mr. Cena is wearing. He would freeze or suffocate fairly quickly at 33,000 feet, despite the speed at which the plane is flying at the moment. Then we see him facing the wrong direction because he jumped out on the left, and now he's already facing in the other direction. To say the least, it's a miracle that he wasn't sucked in by the engines. And now to the ultimate mistake in this whole video. At the beginning we saw a Citation Jet, which we clearly decided on that it isn't in the rest of the clip regarding cabin size, window count, cockpit layout, etc. Then it looked like an Airbus because of the door he opened and the CIDS panel. But what is he jumping out of at 512 miles per hour at 33,000 feet at minus 50 degrees wearing just a t-shirt? A Boeing 737. And not just that, with the flaps partly extended. At 512 miles per hour and 33,000 feet, no 737 has her flaps extended. Shut the front door. There are so many mistakes in those 30 seconds, it's just not true. To all future directors of aviation movies or adverts, ask us aviation geeks for consultation, that your video doesn't become cringeworthy like this one. The rest of it is great, but I'm sure skydiving professionals will find a mistake here or there too. Abu Dhabi is a beautiful part of the Emirates. I've been there many times, so I highly recommend to go there for a visit. And there is no hate from my side towards John Cena. I admire his career and I'm sure he's taken it all with a sense of humor. And that's what we all should do too. It's an advert, not an instructional video on how to jump out of a moving aircraft. I hope you enjoyed this short little analysis. This was a video out of the ordinary for me. It is meant for flight students coming home after a hard day in training or theory lessons to wind down a little and put a smile on their faces. If there is a similar video you would like me to review, please let me know in the comment section. And here's your checklist for today. Subscribe to my channel, check. Activate the notification bell, check. Follow my Instagram account, check. Perform a touch and go at my website, check. And don't forget, a good pilot is always learning. Wishing you all the best. Your Captain Jet.